Okay, Chris. So in this problem that you were given on the last assignment, I noticed that there were a few things that I looked at differently, and so I thought I would point out to you how to figure this out. So the question was, you were supposed to determine the surface area and of this cone. So the first thing that you'd have to look up was the surface area formula, which is pi times the radius squared, or radius times radius, all right. Plus, then you add to that pi times the radius times the slant height. And so the thing that's missing here is the slant height. I put a little question mark here. And so we have to find out what that slant height is first. So what I would do to find the slant height, notice that I've sketched in red here. This is actually a triangle, a right triangle inside of the cone. So you have the lengths of two of those sides um, of the triangle. One of them's 12 and the other one's 5. And so now you can use that famous theorem. Oh, and how I got the 5 was they told me the diameter is 10, which diameter is all the way across. I only need half of that for this little triangle. So it's half of that, 5. So now if I want to find this hypotenuse side, the side that I don't know, so I'm just going to use question mark. I would take 12 squared, or 12 times 12, plus 5 squared, and that's going to equal whatever that number is squared, because that's the formula that I learned a long time ago about right triangles. So first what I would do is 12 times 12 is 144, 5 times 5 is 25, and I know that equals the hypotenuse squared. So when I add 144 plus 25, I get 169, but that question mark isn't 169. I have to try to think of what number times itself equals 169. And to get that, I would take the square root of 169. So I'm going to take the square root of 169 on my calculator. So that tells me that question mark equals 13. And now I'm going to just use 13 for the slant height, because I found out what it is. So instead of being question mark, it's 13. Now I'm going to use the formula that they gave me for surface area. So pi, I guess they said use 3.14. Pi times the radius. Radius is that length 5. Remember, radius is half of the diameter. So pi times 5 times 5, so pi r squared, plus pi times the radius times the slant height, which is what we just found to be 13. So what I did was I plugged in all of the numbers that I needed. So pi I plugged in 3.14, radius I plugged in 5, and slant height I plugged in 13. And then I would just take out my calculator and figure out what 3.14 times 5 times 5, let's see, plus 3.14 times 5 times 13, and I get 282.6. So to do that problem, you should maybe take a look at it again. I see on here you were using 12, and that's actually the regular height, so that's different than the slant height. So there were just a few problems with that, and I wanted to point those out to you. I'm going to mark this for a redo so that you can try it again, but you let me know if you have any questions, and I will help you just like this.